I'm going to stand in for Jonathan. He deserves a child and I can give him that. That's what my wife Gloria whispered like she was making some noble sacrifice, right before betraying me with the very man who once used her, broke her, and nearly destroyed her. She didn't know I'd already uncovered the truth behind their plans, and the part of the story she and Jonathan never expected me to learn. Viewers, what's the worst lie someone you loved has ever told you? How did you recover? Please subscribe, like, comment and watch till the ending to share this interesting story to your family and friend. My name is Anderson Hall, and for most of my life I believed that anything, bridges, towers, marriages, only collapses when someone ignores the warning signs. As a structural engineer in Portland, I spend my days calculating pressure, weight, and everything that could go wrong long before it does. Yet somehow, the structure I trusted most, my marriage, was the one I failed to inspect. I'd been with my wife, Gloria, for 8 years, married for 6. She swept into my life with this soft, magnetic confidence that made everyone around her feel chosen. The kind of charm that doesn't shout, it whispers, and I was always listening. We met in a cafe during one of the worst weeks of my graduate program. I was exhausted, overworked, and drowning in calculations when she accidentally knocked over my iced coffee. She apologized with such warmth in her eyes that I laughed for the first time in days. That was her gift. She made people feel like she saw a version of them worth seeing. I didn't realize until much later that charms like hers aren't always given freely. Sometimes they're tools. Looking back, I see the fractures so clearly. Gloria pausing a beat too long before answering simple questions. The subtle tilt of her phone screen away from me. The new clothes, the new scents, the new excuses. I kept telling myself she was just stressed or bored or searching for something she couldn't name. I wanted to believe our foundation was strong. But that morning, when sunlight fell strangely cold across the kitchen floor, something in the air warned me. The collapse wasn't coming. It had already begun. Gloria came home that evening with an expression I couldn't immediately read. Too calm, too composed, like someone rehearsing a speech they already knew would hurt. She set her keys down gently on the counter, the metallic clink echoing through the kitchen like a warning bell. I remember noticing how she didn't look at me right away. She stared at the wall behind me as if the truth she was about to deliver didn't require eye contact. When she finally spoke, her voice was steady, almost disturbingly so. Anderson, I've made a decision. My stomach tightened. The phrasing alone told me this wasn't a conversation, it was a verdict. She inhaled slowly, her hands clasped in front of her like she needed to hold herself together. My ex, Daniel, he and his wife can't have children. So I've decided to help them. To stand in. Stand in. Such a simple phrase for such an unbelievable blow. For a second I thought I misheard her. But the faint, apologetic smile on her lips told me she meant it, meant every syllable. She wasn't asking for my thoughts or feelings. She wasn't even offering justification. She had chosen her path long before she opened her mouth. My heart hammered against my ribs. Daniel. The man she once claimed nearly destroyed her. The man she swore she'd never speak to again. Hearing his name felt like reopening a wound I didn't realize had never healed. Before I could respond, Gloria tilted her head almost pityingly and whispered, I don't expect you to understand. Then she walked away, leaving me with a silence so sharp it felt like glass. And in that silence, something inside me, something I didn't know I possessed, cracked in a way I couldn't ignore. Please don't forget to subscribe. The strange thing is, I smiled. Not a happy smile, not a relieved one, but the kind of quiet, bitter curve of the mouth a man makes when the truth finally lines up with the evidence he's been trying not to see. If Gloria had turned around, she probably would have thought I'd lost my mind. But that smile wasn't madness. It was recognition. Because long before her confession, the fractures in our marriage had already exposed the rotten steel underneath. 3 weeks earlier, I'd found something that changed everything. A second phone tucked deep inside her gym bag. It wasn't a burner, it was a fully functioning device, complete with a lock screen photo of a sunset I'd never seen and an entirely different life inside it. The moment I saw Daniel's name flashing across the screen, a cold certainty slid into my spine. I remember sitting on the living room couch in the darkness, the glow of that hidden phone lighting my face like some forbidden secret, scrolling through message after message. They weren't about surrogacy. They weren't about friendship. They were intimate, explicit, emotional, pages of flirtation, late-night confessions, and reminders of a relationship she once swore had nearly broken her. She told him things she hadn't told me in years. Told him she missed him. Told him she was ready. Ready for what, she never spelled out. But one message still haunts me, it will all make sense soon. Trust me. Trust me. As though trust were still a currency she had any right to spend. That night, sitting alone with her lies glowing in my hands, I knew our foundation was already rubble. After reading those messages, I couldn't sit still. Every instinct I trusted as an engineer, patterns, inconsistencies, structural shifts, told me something in Gloria's story didn't add up. She wasn't just cheating. She was orchestrating something. So a few days later, when she said she was meeting a friend, I followed her. Not out of jealousy, out of a growing, nauseating curiosity about what she was capable of hiding. She drove to a nearly empty parking lot beside a small community center. It was dusk, that gray part of the evening when light and shadow blur together. I parked far enough away to watch without being seen. At first, I expected Daniel to show up. Instead, a different car pulled in, an older sedan, dented along the side. A woman stepped out slowly, hesitating, her movements small and cautious. Even from a distance, I could see the strain in her posture. Emily, Daniel's wife. She looked nothing like the person Gloria described when she spoke about Daniel's new life. There was no joy, no ease, no glow of a woman supposedly starting a family. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her shoulders trembling. She stood there clutching her purse like it was the only thing keeping her upright. When Gloria approached her with open arms, Emily didn't relax. She stiffened visibly. And yet she let Gloria embrace her, as though refusing might shatter something she couldn't afford to break. The oddest part wasn't Emily's fear. It was the expression on Gloria's face. A soft, almost triumphant smile. Warm on the surface, with something cold simmering underneath. In that moment, watching from my car, a truth began forming, quiet, unsettling, and impossible to ignore. Whatever Gloria was offering them, Emily didn't want it. She felt trapped by it. Please don't forget to subscribe. The next morning, I woke to the soft ping of a notification. An unfamiliar address, no profile picture, no name. For a moment, I thought it was spam until I opened it and saw the first line. Are you really okay with everything your wife is promising us? My blood ran cold. The writer didn't identify themselves, but the desperation in the words was unmistakable. Emily. She must have found a way to contact me without Gloria knowing. I sat at the kitchen table, the early light stretching across the surface like thin ice, rereading the message. Gloria had told her I was supportive. She had told her I agreed. She had told her, God knows what else, to make her feel cornered into accepting the arrangement. The manipulation hit me with a physical force like a punch beneath the ribs. As I typed back, trying to keep my hands steady, Emily sent another message. We didn't ask her. She offered herself. I didn't know who else to reach out to. Offered herself. The phrasing dug into me. It wasn't sympathy. It wasn't generosity. Gloria wanted to be involved. She needed to be central. It was a pattern I knew too well. Flashbacks hit me, moments I'd dismissed. Gloria twisting stories when she was caught in a lie. Gloria crying when confronted, turning herself into the victim. Gloria once telling me about a childhood where love was earned by being useful to others. I'd pitied her. I hadn't realized how deeply she had learned to weaponize that instinct. As I stared at Emily's final message, I don't think I have a choice anymore. An unease settled heavy in my chest. This wasn't an affair anymore. It was something darker, something Gloria was controlling with a precision that almost frightened me. That night, the house felt unusually still, as if it were holding its breath with me. Gloria walked in late, her perfume entering the room before she did, a scent I'd come to associate with secrets. She didn't bother with pleasantries. She didn't even remove her coat. She walked straight past me toward the bedroom, and something inside me, tired, raw, ready, told me I couldn't let her slip into silence again. Gloria, I said, my voice steadier than I felt, we need to talk. She turned slowly, her expression unreadably calm, as if she had prepared for this moment. About what? She asked, though we both knew the answer. I told her I knew about Daniel. About the meetings. About her plans. I didn't mention Emily's messages. Something told me Gloria would retaliate against her if she knew. And as soon as my words left the air, Gloria's face morphed into something ice-cold, almost bored. She didn't deny anything. She didn't apologize. She didn't flinch. Instead, she crossed her arms and said, You weren't giving me what I needed, Anderson. Daniel appreciates me. He always has. The blow landed deeper than I expected. Not just the betrayal but the casual cruelty. As if I was simply insufficient. Flashbacks rose, the fertility appointments, the whispered blame she placed on me, the nights she cried in the bathroom while I waited outside, thinking it was grief. But I knew the truth she didn't. The doctor had privately told me the issue wasn't me. It was her. I'd kept it secret to protect her from shame. But now her rewriting of our history felt like a final twist of the knife. She stared at me with something like contempt, and suddenly everything snapped into horrifying clarity. Gloria didn't want a child. She wanted P. Please don't forget to subscribe. Once Gloria shut the bedroom door behind her, leaving me in the dim hallway with more truth than I knew what to do with, something inside me shifted. I'd spent years avoiding conflict, trying to keep the peace the way a child from a broken home instinctively does. But now, standing there with the weight of her betrayal pressing against my ribs, I felt something new settle in, a quiet, focused resolve. Revenge didn't rise in me as anger or shouting or some cinematic outburst. It came as clarity. Precision. The same calm I used when diagnosing the weak point in a collapsing structure. I walked to the garage, flicked on the single overhead bulb, and the shadows moved across the walls like silent witnesses. The smell of oil and old wood grounded me. On my workbench sat a flash drive I used for blueprints. I picked it up, feeling its lightness, imagining the weight it would soon carry. Over the next hour, I gathered everything. Screenshots from Gloria's hidden phone, bank transfers that didn't line up, messages outlining her manipulations, voice memos she didn't know had been auto-backed up. Every piece fit like a puzzle. But I wasn't just building a case for myself. A memory of Emily's trembling voice, her message, "I don't think I have a choice anymore," echoed through me. She was the true victim in this mess, caught between a husband who blamed her for heartbreak and a woman who was inserting herself like a savior nobody asked for. So I made a decision. I would reach out to Emily. Not to expose Gloria, not yet. But to give Emily the leverage she desperately needed. I closed my fist around the flash drive. The garage light flickered. It wasn't vengeance I felt. It was the first step toward taking my life back. I waited until the next morning to contact Emily. Not because I needed more time to think, my mind was already set, but because I wanted her to hear my voice when she was steady, awake, and far from whatever nightmares Jonathan was putting her through. Dawn filtered weakly through my kitchen blinds, striping the counter in pale gold as I sat with my phone in hand, the flash drive beside my coffee mug like an accusation made of plastic and truth. When she answered, her voice was small, the kind of small that comes from trying to shrink yourself to survive. "Hello. Emily, it's Anderson," I said softly. "I think we need to talk." There was a sharp inhale, then silence long enough for me to hear the distant hum of her refrigerator. Finally she whispered, "Is this about Gloria?" Her saying it out loud made my stomach clamp. "It's about all of it," I replied. "Jonathan. The infertility. Your fear. And what she's planning." A soft, shaky breath. I don't know what to say." "You don't have to," I told her. "Just meet me. Somewhere public. Safe." We settled on a small cafe near the river, neutral ground. I arrived early, sitting near the window where the morning light glinted off the water, giving the scene an almost deceptive calm. When Emily walked in, wearing oversized sunglasses and a cardigan that seemed too heavy for the weather, I saw the truth immediately. She wasn't just sad. She was terrified. She slid into the seat across from me, fingers trembling as she wrapped her hands around the warm coffee cup. "Anderson," she murmured, voice breaking, "I think Jonathan's planning something, and if Gloria's part of it, then I'm running out of time." Her words landed like stones. And somewhere inside me instinct kicked in, not as her wife's husband, but as the only person willing to protect her. "Please don't forget to subscribe." Emily's hands trembled so badly the coffee rippled. The cafe was warm, filled with the soft clatter of cups and low conversation, yet she shivered like she'd been living in winter. Sunlight caught the edge of her sunglasses, revealing swollen skin beneath, subtle but not subtle enough to hide. My jaw locked. "Emily, did Jonathan do that?" I asked carefully. Her fingers tightened around the mug. She didn't answer directly, but the silence was louder than the truth. "I didn't come here to get you in the middle," she whispered. "But Jonathan, he's been different since the diagnosis. Obsessive. Angry. And now that your wife is offering," her voice cracked, the idea itself too grotesque to articulate. "He thinks it's the only way to save his pride." So this wasn't just Gloria trying to play some twisted savior. Jonathan wanted it. Needed it. And Gloria, hungry for her own ego-driven redemption, was walking right into his delusion. Emily leaned forward, lowering her voice until it barely reached me. "I heard him on the phone last night. He said, it won't matter what Anderson thinks. Gloria wants to help and she knows she owes me. Her eyes filled. She doesn't owe him anything. He knows how to twist people. A cold, electric stillness spread through me. Gloria wasn't just cheating. She was being manipulated by a man who already had a history of using her. Emily, I said, sliding the flash drive toward her under the table, this is everything. Proof of their messages. Proof of what they're planning. Proof that Gloria doesn't even see what Jonathan is turning her into. Her breath caught. Why are you helping me? Because you're the only one in this mess who didn't choose it. For the first time she looked at me fully, fear, hope, disbelief, all tangled in her expression. We end this, I said quietly. Together. Outside, the river kept moving, calm and relentless. A sharp contrast to what was coming next. The world always seems too quiet right before something breaks. That evening, as the sun bled orange across the sky, I pulled into my driveway with a tension in my chest so tight it felt like wire. I knew Gloria would be home. Jonathan had a habit of summoning her in the mornings and releasing her by dusk as if her time belonged to him. But tonight I wasn't just coming home. I was confronting the fault line that had been running under our marriage for years. When I stepped inside, she was sitting on the couch, hands clasped, eyes red. The lamp beside her cast a low amber glow, making the whole room look like an old photograph, faded, fragile, dishonest. Anderson, she whispered, we need to talk. For once, I replied, closing the door behind me, we actually do. She flinched. A small, involuntary movement. Guilt already blooming. I ended things with Jonathan, she said quickly. I realized it was wrong. I realized I've been lost. Funny, I said, dropping my keys onto the table, because he told Emily last night that you owed him. Her face drained of color. I stepped closer. I met with Emily today. Gloria's breath hitched. Why would you? Because she's terrified, I snapped. Because your little plan with him wasn't some selfless act. It was a trap. For all of us. Her lips trembled. I didn't know he. No, I cut in. You didn't want to know. I placed my phone on the table, pressing play. Jonathan's voice spilled into the room, arrogant, confident, claiming ownership of her, of me, of Emily. A confession disguised as casual conversation. Gloria folded in on herself, shoulders shaking. Anderson, she whispered, please don't leave me. I let her sit in the silence that followed. Heavy. Consequence-laden. I'm not leaving tonight, I said finally. But I am done being the man you think will forgive anything. Tomorrow we talk lawyers. Tomorrow you explain everything to Emily. And tomorrow, you face what you almost destroyed. She sobbed, crumbling into her hands. I didn't comfort her. Instead, I walked to the balcony, letting the cool night air wash over me. Below, the streetlights flickered to life, one by one like slow, deliberate sparks. Emily texted me then. Thank you. I'm safe. Whatever happens next, we stand together. I typed back. We do. As I pocketed my phone, staring out over the quiet neighborhood, a strange calm settled in. This wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the beginning of something I hadn't felt in a long time. Control. Strength. Clarity. Gloria's sobs echoed faintly behind me. And for the first time I didn't. Turn back. Please subscribe, like, comment and share for more interesting stories.